Hello, this is Brian with The Lit Cave, and I'm here today to do a tag video called the Creatures of the Night tag. And this tag was created by Catty-tastic, and I'll link her channel below. And since it's Halloween, this tag is looking at sort of the paranormal creatures that fill our literature and looking for a few books that talk about those creatures. So let's get started. So the first creature that we're looking for is the vampire. So there's tons of books that have great vampire stories, but I think that I'm going to kind of follow Little Book Owl and say that the Vampire Academy series is the first series that comes to mind, probably because I just finished all 6 of those books, and I am eager to move on to the Bloodlines series as well, which is connected to the Vampire Academy series. But with the Vampire Academy series, you kind of have 3 different creatures that are connected to vampires, the Moroi, the Strigoi, and the Dhampir, which I talked about in my series wrap-up video. So it's a really neat take to have kind of a different, a different way to look at the good versus bad vampires. So I really liked that series. The second creature is werewolves, and again, I'm kind of following Little Book Owl on this because I am going to pick Harry Potter. And a lot of times you don't think of Harry Potter when you're thinking about werewolves, but my favorite character in the entire series, even maybe more than the trio, I don't know, that's kind of hard to say, but pretty close, is Remus Lupin. And he is a werewolf, and I think that he's one of the best representations of that tormented duality that werewolves are there to represent, that he is... he hates himself because he's a werewolf, and he does not believe that his life can ever be good again. And I like the fact that he's kind of proved wrong in some senses in the series. So I'm going to say Harry Potter. But I do want to also say that I have, for werewolves, I have to pull up this book as well, which is The Legend of Sigurd and Gudrun by Tolkien. I had to read this book in my Tolkien class in college, and probably one of my more embarrassing academic moments because it's a pretty difficult book to read. And I'm in class and we're discussing what happened in the book, and at one point the professor says, yeah, you guys, when the werewolf came, and I blurt out loud, there was a werewolf? I didn't even pick up on that when I read the story, and so I was a bit embarrassed about that, but kind of funny. So there's another werewolf. So after werewolves, I believe we go on to zombies. So for zombies, I don't have a whole lot of zombie books, but I do have this book, which is Zombies versus Unicorns, and it's a really kind of neat looking book, and this is a collection of short stories about either zombies or unicorns, and there's some great authors in here. There's Holly Black, there's Garth Nix, Meg Cabot, Libba Bray, Cassandra Clare, Maureen Johnson, Scott Westerfield, so some really great authors in here writing their own takes on zombies or unicorns, and kind of the idea is that at the end you decide which is a more interesting literary character, which pretty hard for unicorns in my mind to go up against zombies, but there were some cool unicorn stories in there as well. So zombies versus unicorns for zombies. After zombies, I have to keep looking down at this list. After zombies, we're going to go with ghosts. So for ghosts, I'm going to pull up the Shades of London series by Maureen Johnson, and this is the original cover for The Name of the Star. The Shades of London is one of those book series that has suffered from changing the covers in the middle of the series, which is a lot of booktubers' pet peeve, and mine as well. So the Name of the Star is set in London, and we've got basically a character who is an American girl in a British boarding school, and she can see things that other people can't see. She can see these kind of ghost type things. We don't know exactly what's going on, but essentially there's somebody recreating the murders of Jack the Ripper, and she's the key to figuring out what's going on. So this is the first book. The second book is called The Madness Underneath, and the third book in the series is going to come out, I believe, January or February, so I'm really excited to read that really great series. Some of my favorite writing by Maureen Johnson. So, ghosts. All right, after ghosts, we're going to go with, we've got witches, warlocks, and spellcasters. So there's a lot of different book series that we could bring this up. We've got the Harry Potter series, we've got the new Iron Trial, we've got a whole bunch. One of the ones that comes to mind for me is the Gemma Doyle series by Libba Bray, which I don't actually own anymore, but I do want to rebuy. It's a 3-book series, really well written, and it's kind of got I don't know, it's different than anything I've ever read before, and I really enjoyed it. So that's one that comes to mind. But another thing I'm going to mention as far as witches, warlocks, and spellcasters is I'm going to go with Magnus Bane as the character from either the Mortal Instruments series, the Infernal Devices series, the Bane Chronicles, but written by Cassandra Clare. He's a really interesting character all the way through, and I really, really enjoyed his character, so I'm going to mention him for witches, warlocks, and spellcasters. For Fairy and Fae, I'm going to mention some characters that are also related to the Mortal Instruments series and so on. And these are the characters that were written by Holly Black in her modern fairy tales. So we've got Tithe, we've got Valiant, and we've got Ironside. I haven't actually read these yet, but I've read the characters, some of the characters, in Cassandra Clare's Mortal Instruments series. And I think it's really cool that those characters kind of fit in to Cassandra Clare's series, even though they're Holly Black's characters, so I really, really like that. I also like that we see kind of a different take on fairies than sometimes we've read before. It's a little bit more in line with folklore, and like, I mean, if you ever read Irish folklore, you've got these kind of pixies and fairy type characters that are really usually up to no good. So I'm really enjoying that different take on fairies. You know, this isn't what we think of when we think of Tinkerbell, you know. So the next book that comes up is about demons. So when I think of demons, I think of this book, which is Devilish. And this is a really funny book. Another book by Maureen Johnson. I'm a big fan of hers. You've seen her now in 3 different books I brought up in this series. And this is one of my favorite books by her. She once talked about how the school that she went to growing up has so supported her writing career, and how she thought that was kind of funny because she turned their students into demons in this book. And so we have girls being possessed by demons in like a high school setting. It's really funny. It's not as dark as it sounds. It's really more of like a funny type of book with some intense moments as well. But really, really good book by Maureen Johnson. So, Devilish. All right, and then after that is Angels. And when I think of angels, and this could do for demons as well, I kind of think along the lines of This Present Darkness and Piercing the Darkness. I'm doing a horrible job putting books in the screen today. There we go. This Present Darkness and Piercing the Darkness by Frank Peretti. This is a duology that came out, oh, I don't even know when this came out. I remember reading these when I was in junior high. Let's see. 5th printing in 1989. So I was 7. So they were out long before I was in junior high. But they were a really good series and a really different take. It's Christian fiction. But it's a really interesting take on sort of the idea of spiritual warfare. Really well written. Frank Peretti is a really good writer. And so I really enjoyed him. And I've kept him around for a long time and probably will continue to do so. And that leaves us with Aliens. For Aliens, I don't have this series anymore either, but the first thing that popped into my mind was The Lorien Legacies by Pittacus Lore, which, of course, is not the author's real name. But if you've seen the movie I Am Number 4, that's based on the first book from this series. But really interesting books as well. I kind of liked it. It's almost like you have this superpowered being, but in reality he's an alien, and really just an interesting take on him and the other people from his home planet. So the Lorien Legacies is that series. And the last one is Superpowered Person. So with this one I'm going to go with Vicious, which is, I believe, what Catty-tastic brought up in her own video. And I just finished reading Vicious this last couple weeks, or I don't know, maybe 3 weeks ago. And really, really well written, really interesting. Very hard to like any of the characters in the series, or in the book, which is new to me, to read a book and not be 100% behind any character. But I really enjoyed it, and so I'd recommend it. So that is the Creatures of the Night tag, and I don't think that I'll tag anyone. I'll just let you do the video if you like it, but I highly recommend that you check out some of the other people's tags on this video. So until the next video, we'll see you same lit time, same lit channel.